Hello again, everybody. Lance Russell, Dave Brown, Corey Macklin, all ready to go with another big one here in the USWA Championship Wrestling. Dave, without a question of doubt, it is hot summertime. Everything is going crazy, and that's the way it is when the summer heat, because we've had a lot of craziness right here, buddy.
Oh, you're right. We got some hot matches here today. The opening match today is going to be a match to determine the #1 contender for the USWA heavyweight title, which is held by Billy Jack Haynes. Sid Vicious is going to be going against Brian Lee. Brian Lee will have Brandon Baxter with him. That occurs right here just moments from now.
And in addition to that, Mark Curtis is going to be here. I'm warning the people. We've already told Curtis he is the official referee out of Smoky Mountain. We're not going to put up with any of that kind of stuff, Mark, so if you're listening, you're hearing it right now.
All right, we're also going to have the return of Pat Tanaka. Stephen Dunn will be here, newcomer Axel Rotten, and also Big Bad Johnny Rotten is going to be along. An update on Brian Christopher's situation.
Yeah, Brian Christopher has already gotten the word, and it looks like it's going to be about 6 weeks before Brian's shoulder blade is going to be healed to the point where he'll be back in the ring. Of course, with the young athletes like that, may be quicker, and that's what we're hoping for.
We hope so.
And I know he certainly is. You know, Dave, this situation that culminated last week in Texas Death Match between Smoky Mountain Wrestling and USWA Wrestling is really just, it's gotten so personal, it's gotten out of hand. It absolutely has gotten to the point where we know what happened to Randy Hales, we know what happened to PG-13. You're going to have an opportunity to see, because we've got a videotape that you'll be paying close attention to. You will have an opportunity to see what happened in that Texas Death Match, and son of a gun, I got to tell you, it is something that you don't want to miss, and I don't want to see almost. It was not good.
No, but speaking of PG-13, they will be in action right here today, and much, much more coming up, too.
Buckle up the seat belts, everybody. Dave got yours on, I got mine on. We're going to be back with a heck of a show in just a moment.
All right, we're ready for our first bout today on USWA Championship Wrestling. This bout is a #1 contender match. The winner of this bout will be determined as the #1 contender for the USWA heavyweight title. Making his way to the ring area now, 289 pounds, wrestling from Orlando, Florida. It's prime time, Brian Lee. And in his corner, Brandon Baxter. His opponent today, standing at 6'8", 295 pounds, wrestling out of Marion, Arkansas, Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious, the opponent for Brian Lee. This is a #1 contender match. The winner will be determined as the #1 contender for the USWA heavyweight title. Bill Rush, referee, Lance and Dave, let's do it.
Boy, I tell you, they talk about openers. Everybody should have an opener like this, Dave, huh?
You're right.
We're talking major match to determine the #1 contender for the USWA heavyweight title, as Corey said. Primetime, Brian Lee, Big Sid Vicious.
Can you imagine some of the major arenas around the country, maybe around the world, saying they've got this as the opening match on television in the USWA today? Look at this. Prime time against Sid Vicious. Some folks call him Psycho Sid. He's not too thrilled about that, so I don't say it too much when he can hear.
Let's take a listen now to some comments that Big Sid had to make just a little bit earlier. Whoa, look at him go. Pounding
Billy
away.
Jack Haynes, you're the USWA heavyweight champion. The title, I'd like to have around my waist. You see, you're going around, you broke Brian Christopher's shoulder, and all I have to do to get that title is today is go through Brian Lee. And it's like that. See, you talk about fear. Well, you, my friend, you now will have to meet reality. You will have to meet the master, the ruler of the world.
Big Sid, the man that rules the world, and he's tangled up with a guy who is just dadgum near as big as he is, Dave.
You're right. Brian Lee is tall, but I was just thinking as I looked at the two of them standing there in the ring.
Brandon Baxter handed something off to him.
Yep. Looked like brass knucks or something he's got wrapped up in his fist.
Come on now, 1, 2.
Hammers Sid with it down to the mat.
Puts Sid down on the mat, and now it looks like it's safely tucked back into the pocket of Brandon Baxter. It's too bad Bill Rush, the referee. Whoa, clothesline. Took Sid right off his feet.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. Brian Lee just took Sid Vicious, put him horizontal, and then he dropped about 2 feet to the mat. Wow.
And Lee chopping away. And this is a position that we have not become accustomed to seeing the big man in. And primetime Brian Lee, leaving no doubt exactly what he's headed for. That is an opportunity to put a belt around his waist. Back into the rope, with Sid across the ring. Misses with that swinging right hand. And Sid, a chopping forearm, popped him with that clothesline down and comes in after Brian. Caught one in the midsection, Davey.
Brian Lee has said before, he's not afraid of Sid. He's not afraid at all to step into the ring against him. Well, so far, I got to say he's proven that. If anything, Brian Lee has had the upper hand throughout most of this match. Sid, flat on his back. There's a cover. 1, 2.
Right shoulder, just
shoulder
barely got up.
Boy, the referee stopped the count. I had to look quickly, and Sid's right shoulder was up just before the 3 count.
Primetime Brian Lee with a handful of hair. Over to the ropes. He's choking him. Referee trying to get a break. Big Sid now being handled by Brandon Baxter from the outside. And I'll tell you what, Baxter, you better keep your running shoes on, because this guy ever get a hold of you. Standing side headlock. Prime time. Holding on to Sid. Puts an elbow right in the middle. There's a foot right up to the face. And Sid. Slam. That's Sid Vicious.
No, a power move from Brian Lee, as if to say, hey, Sid, you're not the only one that can do that. Sid's on his feet. Look out. There's the return from Sid Vicious, and Brandon Baxter jumped in the ring. Boom.
Dumped them both right on it. Sid ready to turn him into the power bomb. He's got him up. Puts him down. Sid Vicious ready to get the 1, 2. Billy Jack Haynes hits the ring. It'll be a disqualification at that point, with Sid winning by disqualification. And there's the champ in the ring.
Billy Jack Haynes not waiting for the title match. He's after Sid Vicious now, who's the #1 contender. Disqualification occurred. Actually, I think probably when Baxter hit the ring, it should have been a disqualification.
You're right.
The referee. Sid Vicious the winner, but Billy Jack Haynes working him over right now. Here comes help. Stephen Dunn, Wolfie D, and Axel Rotten.
We'll be seeing him a little later.
Now, you see what fear's all about, Vicious? Nobody, you didn't want to wrestle Billy Jack Haynes for the USWA Championship. There's your fear. I said ain't no man can carry my jockstrap, and that's exactly what I meant. So you all out there, you punk shit.
Count them 1, 2, 2 on 1. It wasn't straight up. That's for a living fact. They jumped him with a 2-on-1 situation.
There's no doubt about it. Sid Vicious attacked by, well, actually almost 3-on-1 if you count Brandon Baxter, although he was lying in a ring most of the time there. But there was some help, and they're trying to attend to Sid right now. The match is still booked. The championship match coming up. Sid gets the shot at the USWA heavyweight title. That's what we've just determined in this match right here, as Sid wins by disqualification.
Bunch more to go. We'll be back at it in just a moment.
One fall with a 10-minute time limit. Here action in the ring. First introducing 187 pounds from parts unknown. Here is the Yellow Jacket. His opponent today, returning to the USWA, 266 pounds from Newcastle, England. Here is Axel Rodden. One fall, a 10-minute time limit. Bill Rush is referee for this one to Lance and Dave.
We're about ready to go with it. Bill Rush getting him set and ring the bell. Axel Rotten, Dave. This guy can be a bad son of a gun whenever he wants to, and he wants to a bunch.
I was just thinking, last time we saw him in the USWA, we weren't too thrilled to see him, but a little bit of a different attitude this time around from the young man from England.
Boy, speaking of different attitudes, let's take a listen and see what his attitude is. Here's Axel Rotten.
USWA, Axel Rotten is here, and he's in the ring, taking care of business. You know, there's a lot of people running around the USWA doing things they shouldn't do, busting people in the head, knocking them down from behind. Well, my name's Axel Rotten, and you know what, people? With you guys behind me, Axel Rotten's going to take it right to the top. When I walk out to that ring, I want to hear the people, Axel, Axel. And what we're going to do here in the USWA, with all you behind me, we're going to rid the USWA of trash, because kicking butt is my business, and now that I'm in the USWA, business is real good.
Standing side headlock, Axel Rotten. I don't know whether he's going to get people hollering Axel or not. We'll have to find out.
We'll have to see, but I tell you what, if he can deliver on a couple of those promises, he may very well have people yelling, Axel, Axel.
Yellow Jacket making a fiery comeback at him and bangs him hard. Whip across the ring, round behind. Look at that. That was a belly to back of sorts. And whatever it didn't lack in classic movement, it got the job done. There's a scoop slam.
Got the crowd on their feet, too. They're behind him now. Axel, Axel. He may start at any minute.
Yellow Jacket whipped across in the air and drops him down with a reverse atomic knee. Got him up with that backbreaker and then flips him straight down on the mat. Count of one, count of two, and that's it.
It's over. Axel Rotten, impressive re-debut, if you will, in the USWA here today. He's looking good.
Like him better now than I did before when we saw him one other time. That's for a living fact. You know, it's a strange thing, Dave, about what's happened to this world. You look at some of the different... We've talked about the Rock and Roll Express, and we'll be saying more about them. But that's just an example. I'm just not really sure I understand all that's going on in this world, my friend. One of the big things that's happened in a long time was this Wild and Woolly Texas death match, and I think the footage is going to speak for itself. It absolutely was blinding in terms of intensity. You judge for yourself as we're going to look at it right now. PG-13, Rock and Roll Express, and watch the ending.
To see a live Texas death match, it is something to see, let me tell you, something to behold. Trying to get up and going. To help out his partner as JC is caught between the Rock and Roll Express. And they take JC Ice down. He had 1, 2, 3. That's 3 falls now, and 1 fall for the Rock and Roll Express, 2 for PG-13. They're getting it in the ring over that top rope. Looking to do some damage to PG-13, Lance.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you what they're trying to do, Corey, is put them where they're not going to be able to continue at all. table, and that's the idea. You've got a 30-second rest period, and they're trapping Wolfie in. And now Rick Morton goes back, drop kicks that table against Wolfie. Lead it up, and they're still working on Wolfie, who slammed in to the table. Robert Gibson thrown out, and look at Wolfie. He's got him up, and DDT's him right down on the table. Morton down. Pick him up again. Robert outside the ring, and Ricky hammered into that table. Curtis with a bucket of water to bring Morton around. Mark Curtis with a bucket of water. Here comes Bill Rush. He nails Curtis. Curtis brought that bucket of water and revived Rick Morton. I'm not sure he would have ever gotten in there for that 10 count. But he got him back up, and the bout goes on. Bill Rush throttled him. Robert Gibson going after J.C. Ice. Now Wolfie. Morton turns the table up. And Rick slams the head of J.C. down on the table. In the air, Morton backdropped him right off the table as J.C. sandbagged him and took Morton all the way over. Robert Gibson thrown outside the rope, and now Wolfie grabs a hubcap. J.C. gets his, and here they go after the rock and roll. Mark Curtis saved Rick Morton in that last fall. Good night. PG just pounding him. Here comes Buddy Landell. Buddy Landell knocks T.D. Steele down. The referee goes after J.C. Ice. And J.C. hammers him with a hubcap. Ricky down. Kicks his way out. Here comes Jerry Lawler. Nails Buddy Landell. Rips him. 5 times and more. Robert Gibson going after Lawler from behind. Tags Lawler. Landell going after him. In the air, Ricky Morton. A pile driver with a spike. Look at a battle on the floor. Lawler and Landell. Here comes Tracy Smothers in. Tracy coming in, and he breaks a bottle. What is Smothers doing? Tracy Smothers. Man, I can't believe this. Smothers, it's true he's with Smoky Mountain Wrestling, but I've always known Tracy to be an upstanding young man. He came in and broke a bottle right over the head of J.C. Ice. Ricky Morton placed on top. 1, 2, 3. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. Bob. Now, there's your time limit. T.D. Steele counting. He's got a 10 count, and J.C. will never make it. This is going to be it. It's awful, Lance. Absolutely awful. What is it, Tracy? What are you doing coming in? You jump in here and break a bottle over the guy's head. Boy, that's great sportsmanship, I'll tell you that. And that's going to be it.
We just showed that Smoky Mountain Wrestling is #1, the USWA and PG-13 in Memphis, Tennessee, to shove it.
He didn't show nothing except something else, too. Actually, the way they had to pick glass out of J.C. Ice's head where I can't believe it. Tracy Smothers, right in there beside him, busts the bottle over his head.
It just shows it's become us versus them. the Smoky Mountain against the USWA. It's gotten wild. Personal. Yeah.
Take a listen to this. If you think personal, this is rock and roll and Tracy.
Hey, USWA, what you're looking at is 3 real men. Don't send down some boys to do a man's job.
That's right, Robert. You see, I'm in my prime. I never felt a thing.
That's right. You didn't feel a thing because you're looking at 8 eyes right here and the lights on and nobody's home. You know why? Because we're from Smoky Mountain Wrestling, man. We're like a family. We all stick together. You know what happened out there, PG-13? You got careless, man. You got careless. And you got busted over the head with a bottle because that's the way we do things. We're the outlaws. We're the thugs. T is for terrible. H is for hurt. U is for ugly. And G is for jail because a thug can't spell. Now what we're talking about is this. We're taking over the USWA. Jerry Jarrett, you're fired. Bob Armstrong's got your job. Sandy Scott is taking over your job, Eddie Marlin. You're through. Randy Hale, we've already got rid of you. And Buddy Landell should be the unified heavyweight champion right now. Smoky Mountain Wrestling's what's hot. USWA's is not.
That's right. 3 more guys.
And if you want us to come back in a 6-man tag, line them up. Bring any 3 you want. Then when we get through with them, we'll take on 3 more. It don't matter to us because, like it says, Smoky Mountain Wrestling is hot. USWA is not.
Well, there it is. I don't guess there has to be any elaboration on that. We've got more action coming up. We'll be back to it in a moment.
With a 10-minute time limit for our next action on USWA Championship Wrestling. First introducing at 218 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee, here is T.D. Steele. His opponent today, 313 pounds, led to the ring by Downtown Bruno, wrestling out of Chicago, Illinois. Here is Johnny Rodden. 1 ball, a 10-minute time limit. Bill Rush represents.
You'll see right here why Johnny Rodden is the #1 man who will rule the USWA and everything else he wants to, Daddy.
Well, we'll see. Master of the power bomb. I know somebody else around who's the master of the power bomb, I think.
What you call that is a pretender to the throne, baby. Right there is the king of the power bomb.
Yeah, we'll see.
He's going after it right now. TD Powerbomb. Johnny Rodden makes the cover. 1, 2, 3. Son of a gun. He got a tough guy. Absolutely surprised me with that win in there in such short order over TD
How long did that take? How long did that take?
28 seconds.
28 seconds? I'll tell you what. Next week, it won't take nearly that long. I promise you that.
Oh, yeah. Big son of a gun, Johnny Rodden going storming out of here after an impressive win over T.D. Steele, and I don't know what all this conversation from Downtown Bruno is.
I don't either, but it was an impressive power bomb. T.D. Steele, not an easy wrestler to defeat, but Johnny Rodden did it very quickly after that power bomb. T.D. never had a chance to get going.
Okay, we're going to continue with more great action coming up, but right now, coming in, J.C. Ice, Wolfie D, and we're talking about PG-13, and they have been through some rough experience, and the son of a gun that they had with Rock and Roll Express had to be one of the toughest things you guys have ever faced.
You know, Lance Russell, Rock and Roll Express, it's getting heavy, man. It's getting real heavy. You ain't pulling no punches. You ain't taking nothing back. When you get a man down, it ain't nothing for you to diss on him. So you see, you painted us yellow. You beat up our promoter. You brought in a biased referee. And we're still kicking and standing here. So what you had to do when the odds was even is run out and get Tracy Smothers to hit the ring and hit me with a bottle over the top of my head. Now, Tracy Smothers, let me tell you something, you scumbag Benedict Arnold, egg-sucking, low-life scum of the earth. Just like the Rock and Roll, just like Mark Curtis, and just like Smoky Mountain Wrestling. So, boys, we've got a plan, and Whoopi's going to tell you our plan.
Well, I got to interject and say this, guys. I know about your plans. I just don't think it's going to work.
Well, Lance Russell, what we needed for this match was basically a maniac. We need a partner who is not scared of nothing, a partner who will bite your ear off, a partner who will use a chain, use a table, use a board. We need a maniac. So what we did was we called Randy Hales. We thought of who the craziest, most low-down person we could think of, and we said, Randy, call him up. Randy called him. He got hung up on. Randy called back again. He got cussed and hung up on. I called Randy Hales again. I said, Randy, I know this guy is motivated by nothing but money. I said, I want you to call him back one more time and offer him $1,000 to do one thing and one thing only, and that's to show up right here today and talk to us face to face. He does not have to wrestle. All he has to do is face us. Now, I know Mr. Coffey has told me that he's here. This guy's tried to beat our brains out. He tried to end our career. I want him to come out here right now.
Well, I told you, with all due respect, I think you're crazy when you start talking about this guy and looking to him for any kind of help, because you're right. He's motivated by nothing but the greenback, and he doesn't care. Well, there he is. I can't believe it. Wildfire, Tommy Rich. Rock and roll is going to have Tracy Smothers, and these guys are going to Tommy Rich, who tried to kill you, in order to get him to come in as a partner. I can't believe it.
Boy, you boys look like y'all been in a real bad car wreck.
That's funny.
Look, Tommy, look, we said we needed the lowest, meanest, nastiest dude that we know, man. And you're him, Tommy Rich, and we need you, man.
You know, I ain't never agreed with you before, and I agree with you on that. But the bottom line is, you got my $1,000.
There you are.
You got my money.
What's he interested
Well, that
in?
was the deal, Lance Russell.
I'm not saying
I
it
don't
wasn't
even
a
think
deal.
I got $1,000.
I told them they were crazy.
I'm going to count it to you. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, $1,000,
I don't
partner.
believe you guys did that.
Partner.
Y'all ain't gonna lose your car over this, are you?
No, but we need you to be our partner, man. Us three right now.
man.
Come on, Tracy.
Well, now, wait a minute, Lance Russell. Now, you know the deal was when Randy Hills called me, he said all I had to do was show up at TV. And from looking at you two boys, this fight's y'all's fight. It ain't my fight. And the answer to your question is no.
Yeah, what do you expect? Hey.
Give me $1,000, man. We want you to be, man. I'll give you what. Come on,
Well, you know, I know from the beginning. I hate to say I told you so, but Rich is that kind of guy. I don't know what happened to him.
Let me tell you something. This ain't finished. That was just $1,000. I'm going to go back there. I'm getting on that phone. I'm going to find a partner. I'll keep you updated. Okay. Rock and roll is time.
Well, you heard it from PG-13, and you saw what Tommy Rich did. He came out, took the money, and said no, and walked right off. We're going to be back in just a moment. You know, Dave, it just seems like it has popped up so much recently since the Smoky Mountain USW thing. I just do not understand what has happened to people.
I don't either. I mean, I was looking at the interview earlier. These guys, they all started here. We're talking about Tracy Smothers, Rick Morton, Robert Gibson,
Yes.
Rock and Roll Express. They all started right here, and now all of a sudden they're just different from what we know.
Tommy Rich, and this is the strangest thing. You know the kind of, I don't have to tell you the kind of trouble we've had with Tommy Rich. But outside the ring, I'm telling you, we've known Tommy since day one. Eddie Marlin was one of Tommy's best friends. Eddie was there when Tommy was born, as a matter of fact.
It's true.
And really and truly, this is kind of goofy to say, but outside the ring, Tommy Rich is a heck of a family man. Tommy's been married 15 years. He is a great father. He's got 3 lovely daughters. and I know the guy that way. I know exactly what he's like here. He's got these handout grabbing the money, comes in, takes $1,000 from these guys. They can't afford just to give money away like that. And he comes in and takes it and turns around, laughs and says no and walks out. And I just don't understand it, because the guy he is a very good family man, and he pulls off stuff like that. I just absolutely cannot understand. He's got to be thinking, or at least he should be thinking, his kids see him act like this on television. And they're sitting there saying, what, man, this is something that affects kids the rest of their life. I don't know. Anyhow, we got action. Corey, you got a good one coming up. We're going to see Pat Tanaka returning, I believe.
Oh, yes, sir. Looking forward to this one. Tag team action right in the ring. One fall, a 10-minute time limit. First introducing at a combined weight of 444 pounds from Hollywood, California, Gorgeous George III, and his partner making a return to the USWA from the islands of Hawaii, Pat Tanaka. And in their corner, Uptown Karen. Their opponents today, a combined weight of 397 pounds, wrestling from the hood, JCI Sir Wolfie D, PG-13. Bill Rush, referee for this one, and guys, we got us a heck of a bout tonight.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Corey, this is kind of a sleeper. We were talking about our opening match, Sid Vicious and primetime Brian Lee and all, but this son of a gun, Dave, could be a killer, because this Gorgeous George III can, in fact, wrestle. Pat Tanaka, here's another case. We're talking about changes. Pat Tanaka, we remember when he was just a young guy starting out here. He's still young, but evidently his association with people has changed. He's hanging out with Gorgeous George.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I remember Pat Tanaka when he was teamed with a young man named Paul Diamond. They later became AWA champions and really had a huge run as a tag team champions. Now all of a sudden we see Pat. He's got that different attitude. I don't know what's going on.
JCI's nice hip toss with Gorgeous George III, followed by a drop kick. Right down, JC with his head bandaged up, where he got busted up beside the head. Man, oh man. Coming in, Wolfie D. And these two unconventional, outstanding tag wrestlers, PG-13. They never cease to amaze you. Here's Tanaka in with Wolfie D. Backing Wolf up in the corner.
You know, PG-13 showing that all change is not bad, because a year or so ago, didn't care much for PG-13, and all of a sudden they had a change of attitude in the right way. Look at Wolfie D go. Boy, he just nailed Pat Tanaka. Popped him with a right hand, takes him over to the corner, makes a tag on JC. JC straight knee left. Put Pat Tanaka down on the mat as a cover. 1, 2. Oh, only a 2 count. He was able to bring it out to 2. But Tanaka got up and jabbed him in the throat with both hands.
Tanaka, for you folks who do not remember Pat, is to say that he is well-versed is an understatement of all of it on martial arts. Don't come out here now.
It's turning there. Oh, that's the greatest thing ever. Let's see here.
In the ring, PG-13 as Mark Curtis comes out. Hey, don't be touching me. Now get out of here. We don't need...
We don't need any surprises from you. We need you out of here.
Follow you? I wouldn't follow you.
We're not going to follow you.
Out if money was free.
Do what you want there. We're not going to follow you.
Just get out of here. Where is Curtis going? You know, I don't trust this guy one bit. Not what I've seen. Can we follow him out?
Well, with cameras following him there, we'll see what he's doing. He's going out one of the exits here at the TV station, and the camera is kind of flaring on us when it hits the sunlight.
There we go, yeah.
That's a garbage can. Who is that coming in? That's Robert Gibson there. I couldn't see who else was with him.
Coming in the back door.
Tracy Smothers.
With a chair nailed. Wolfie D. Garbage pail. The gorgeous George III. What else would you expect out of this Smoky Mountain bunch of thugs? Over the head on J.C. Ice. Tracy Smothers. Robert Gibson. Mark Curtis. Pounding away with that flag that Smothers usually carries. And look at Tracy just battering J.C. Ice and Wolfie D. We got to get this stopped. Nothing is happening right now. T.D. Steele coming in. He doesn't have a chance in there. They are just killing him now. Curtis going after Bill Rush. Dave, I got to get out of here.
Yeah, we've got to get somebody in here to help get this one sorted out, or the PG-13 badly outnumbered. Bill Rush being jumped up on by Mark Curtis. You know, the problem is there's not any help much around. T.D. Steele has already been smacked. Sid Vicious was hurt earlier. Lawler's not here. Brian Christopher's hurt. Here comes Stephen Dunn. Stephen Dunn in to help out. Stephen Dunn goes after Pat Tanaka. Tracy Smothers just nailed somebody else with that garbage can. I didn't even see who it was. Somebody was trying to get in there to help out, but they're out on the floor now. And it continues as the Smoky Mountain Thugs, that's about all I can think of. That's the way they're all acting. As just a bunch of thugs, egged on by Mark Curtis. A clothesline with that rebel flag by Tracy Smothers. Robert Gibson right there. Smothers picks up the garbage can and smacks Wolfie D again. Meanwhile, Mark Curtis now with a garbage can, choking J.C. Ice. Robert Gibson comes after Wolfie D again. The referee, Bill Rush, is out. Tracy Smothers nailing Wolfie D again. I don't know. Oh, look out. Look out. Smacks him into the table here.
Hey, Brown. Hey. This is what we do. Come on. This is Smoky Mountain Wrestling, you understand?
Get your hands off of me or I'll throw you out of here and you'll never be back in here, too. Hey, I hear
Mountain Wrestling's what's hot. USWA.
I hear what you're saying, but this is a fine way to prove it. Coming in here, jumping guys, outnumbering everybody. Garbage cans. Here comes Tommy Rich. Tommy Rich picks up a chair, and all of a sudden, Smoky Mountain leaves. Tommy Rich finally got him out of here. Boy, let's take a break. We'll try to settle it down and be back with you in just a moment. Well, things have certainly been exciting and interesting here today. I tell you one thing that was exciting, I guess, but certainly was not a lot of fun for us, is when all of a sudden guys suddenly started appearing from everywhere. We ended up with free fall going on in here. Here's someone that's not much fun. A bunch of them that are not much fun anymore. Mark Curtis, Robert Gow is doing fine. Do you guys got here?
Hey, let me tell you something. USWA, you don't rule. Smoky Mountain rules. And Ricky Morton, let me tell you something. He could be right around the corner. Let me tell you something, PG-13. We let you lay in. We let all the guys go to 50, 60 of them. We let them all laying down. Let me tell you something, boys. You want to fight, you come to the right place, because, baby, this is just our game.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling. What we're talking about, Dave Brown. Hey, Tommy Rich. Banana Nose, Lance Russell, old bag of bones, must have paid you off, man. Went back there and give you $2 grand. Well, let me tell you something. You come out here talking about mom and the babies, all right? This ain't got nothing to do with Terry and the kids. We're talking about a war. USWA, you want a war, you got it.
Smoky Mountain Wrestling is here to stay, not to play. Wildfire Tommy Rich, you want to stick your nose in our business, you're going to get your butt kicked. 'Cause let me tell you something. T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail. 'Cause a thug can't spell. And what we're talking about is this week, Texas death matches. Guys, we'll bring garbage cans, we'll bring Coke bottles, we'll bring chairs, we'll bring chains, we'll bring a shotgun if we have to, because we're the outlaws, we're the thugs. That's what I'm talking about. Ricky Mountain's all taking care of business right now, but he'll be there this week. We got Buddy Landell. Yeah, we got Nature Boy Buddy Landell. We don't like Mud Island. We don't like the Pyramid. We don't like Memphis University. They can't even keep their name. We can't stand Elvis Presley. Rock and roll is here. The wild-eyed Southern boy. And Gerbil, my man Mark Curtis, the best referee in the world. And
Don't rush your mind.
The rest of the USWA. You better get this in mind.
I think we get your point.
You cut me off, Dave Brown. You changed and so did Lance Russell. I've been wanting to do this interview for 12 years. Come on, Jim Kessler.
Let's go to the ring. Let's go to the ring right now for Corey.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you very much. Those guys, I tell you, looking forward to that coming up this week. One fall, 10-minute time limit for our next bout. First introducing at 265 pounds from Memphis, Tennessee, Mr. Clyde. His opponent today, 224 pounds, wrestling out of Dallas, Texas. Here is Stephen Dunn. One fall, a 10-minute time limit. Gene Johnson, referee for this one, to Lance Russell, Dave Brown. We got more action coming up, guys.
Man, it's hard to stay focused when you got those Smoky Mountain folks running around here all over the place. Man,
The world has gone crazy.
no.
Thank goodness we get a little...
Wow.
Hey, Stephen Dunn, how hot are you?
You know, Bruno was out here earlier talking about records. That's pretty close to one right there, as well. Stephen Dunn gets the victory over Mr. Clyde. Whoa.
Stephen Dunn, the winner over Mr. Clyde, and we're going to take time out. Be back in a moment. Oh, what a wild and woolly day. We started out saying summertime is here, and it's just crazy, and it is crazy, Dave.
I think I'm about to wilt in the heat, too. I tell you, it's been some kind of day.
Absolutely. I do not believe PG-13 could have stood any more pounding if Tommy Rich had not come out here and jumped in to give them a hand. There's no way in the world those boys would have survived that. Terrible. Take a look at what happened.
Look at J.C. Ice. Robert Gibson comes after Wolfie D again. The referee, Bill Rush, is out. Tracy Smothers nailing Wolfie D again. I don't know. Oh, look out. Look out, look out. Smacks him into the table here.
Hey, Brown, hey, this is what we do. Come on. This is Smoky Mountain Wrestling, you understand?
Get your hands off of me or I'll throw you out of here and you'll never be back in here, too.
Hey, I hear Mountain Wrestling's what's hot. USWA.
I hear what you're saying, but this is a fine way to prove it. Coming in here, jumping guys, outnumbering everybody. Garbage cans. Here comes Tommy Rich. Tommy Rich picks up a chair, and all of a sudden, Smoky Mountain leaves. Tommy Rich finally got him out of here.
Yeah, and you're talking about a friend in need and a friend indeed. Boy, I'm telling you, they had one right there at the moment.
They did, and you know, a little while earlier, I would have thought, no, he would never be there to help him out, but there he was.
I'm going to get Tommy over here and just say this much, if I can get untangled here to get around, to say, Tommy, we appreciate it, partner. I'm going to tell you one thing. Whatever's gone before and all, I know the people have never known the real Tommy Rich the way that I have and Dave has and all. for you to come in here and do that was muchly appreciated.
Lance, I want to tell you thank you. First of all, you know, you've been around for a long time, and I've seen you pull a lot of strings with a lot of different guys. And today you pulled the right one with me. You know, it's like talking about mom and the babies. And, you know, I've did a lot of rotten things. I was here for 10 months. And, you know, sometimes it was hard to sleep. And, you know, it's like my little girl come home not long ago, right before school got out. And she come home, she was crying, you know, and she, talking about, you know, the kids, talking about how mean their daddy was. And it really hurt our feelings. And, it, you know, it's been kind of gigging at me. And just like I said, today you pulled the right string. And I want to thank you. And I want to make a promise to all the people. You're not going to see a brand new Tommy Rich. You're going to see a Tommy Rich start today that starts changing. And I'm going to try to change more and more every day. You know, I can't make no promises. You know, sometimes it rolls up and down. But, you know, for everybody out there, I just want to thank you, Lance, and tell Mom and the babies I love them. Thank you.
Okay, mate. Thanks a lot, Tommy Rich. And I got to tell you one thing. There's one thing they'll never take out of him, and that's that toughness. That son of a gun, he's been that way, and he can do it down the road. PG-13, you got yourself a partner and a half.
Outstanding.
What a day.
Oh, yeah, but that puts a whole different light on this whole thing. This whole thing with Smoky Mountain Wrestling and USWA, which has just really become, well, it's become personal. There's no doubt about it. And, you know, maybe that'll get things back the way we'd like to see them.
And I just look at guys like the Rock and Roll Express, Rick and Robert, and Tracy Smothers. I'm saying,
yeah,
the world is insane. Hey, we don't ever promise you anything dull here on USWA. We got to get out of here. We'll be looking for you next week. For Corey Macklin, Dave Brown, Lance Russell saying bye-bye, everybody.
The announcers on this program are selected and paid by parties other than this station, namely the promoters of USWA Championship Wrestling.